Hello, welcome to Morning Flow. I'm Leo Bray on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center. Visit us online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook to check out our schedule of daily classes available on Zoom. The ones where you can come join us in person if you're local, Thursday through Sunday morning. Check out the location changes that may be coming up. Things are in flux as always. And there's a tip jar there online where you can make contributions to support these classes that we offer here on Zoom, in person, locally, and later on YouTube. Which brings me to the next bit, which is to say this will be a shorter segment, not a 1 hour segment. As happens sometimes, no one has logged in for the Zoom class to join me. So we take that opportunity to record a shorter video to put up on the YouTube because we like to keep fresh content flowing to YouTube. And sometimes people don't have an hour for practice. They like to have something shorter. So what I will do today, just me and the laptop here and the trusty Bluetooth headphones, because the microphone's better than the built-in one on the laptop, is a short practice focusing on some pranayama breath work, specifically on a particular breath called breath of fire. And we'll explore doing breath of fire in a few different postures. And before we get to that, we'll just ground and settle as we always do. So I'm sitting on 2 yoga blocks because that's how I feel like sitting today. You can start out sitting in whatever way is comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be just like this. Maybe you'd rather kneel than sit. Maybe you're just sitting on the floor or on a cushion or on some blocks. And if you'd rather start lying down than sitting, that's fine as well. Get comfortable, feel the contact you have with the ground, whatever that is. Or if it's not the ground, maybe it's something else. Feel what is under you, what's holding you up, whatever position you've chosen. You can close your eyes if you want. You can make changes to get comfortable. Feel that grounding contact beneath you. Think about the length of your spine. So if you're sitting or kneeling, sitting up tall without being stiff or rigid. And even if you choose to be lying down, you can think about the length of your spine. Think about the way your body's expanding when you breathe in and contracting when you breathe out. Just observing your breath at first to let it slow down and get deeper. Perhaps noticing your breath for the first time today. Noticing how these deeper breaths feel. Maybe how your contact with what's under you changes as your breath shifts your body around. Let's just take 3 deep cleansing breaths. You can let your eyes open if they're closed. So maybe if you didn't start out sitting, you started lying down, you can come up and join us now. Sitting or kneeling is fine to start from here. So breath of fire is about short, abrupt exhales. I'm holding my hand here because it's about the diaphragm. So especially if you're new to it, or even if you're not new to it, you might place your hand under your belly button to feel this diaphragmatic movement. So you're going to breathe out sharply through your nose, short bursts, and just let the inhales happen passively. So without focusing on inhaling, you will inhale. Your body knows to do this. If you just focus on exhaling, your body will know to inhale. If you just focus on inhaling, your body knows to exhale. So we just do short breaths like this. And if you want, place a hand here. And you don't have to go that fast. Go at a pace that works for you. And pause and notice what has changed in how your body feels. Now, we call this breath of fire because kind of obvious once you start doing it. It's very warming. It heats you up. It made me a little thirsty already there. And this is a great practice for chilly times. Chilly mornings we have here in Palm Springs these days, or what counts as chilly here. Chilly is a relative term, but breath of fire warms you up from the inside, from the center outward. So we'll do a little more sitting here, and then we'll try it in some different postures. So maybe you keep your hand on your belly, and maybe let your hands rest somewhere else. And maybe you close your eyes if you want to focus more on your breath, but feel for your diaphragm moving. It's like in and up, like up like that. And then let your breath fall into a natural rhythm. And we'll shift position. We'll try breath of fire in some other postures and see how it feels with the body in different positions, different shapes. So I'm going to come off these blocks. I'm going to come up onto our hands and knees. So maybe you tip forward. Maybe you tip to one side to do that. Doesn't matter. I probably won't use those anymore. We'll move them over there. So you can bring your hands under your shoulders or forward of your shoulders. If it's too much on your wrist to have them right behind your shoulders, or right under your shoulders, you could be forward a bit, and your hips above your knees. Table pose or box pose, we call this. Now we do the same breathing, same breathing from here, drawing up and in from the diaphragm. Think of your navel drawing towards your spine. And come to a natural rhythm of breathing for a few rounds. So maybe with your body a little more engaged, maybe that feels a little more intense, maybe a little more warming. And I did about twice as many. I was counting to 20 for the seated round and just counted to 40 or about 40. Maybe I lost count. And in between one position and the next, it's nice to just take a few replenishing breaths and let that heat subside a bit before we heat up again. Now you're going to step your right foot up between your hands. So maybe you have blocks under your hands to do that. I could have brought my blocks over. That could make the transition easier. Maybe I'll just grab the blocks. Because as you step your knee forward to plant your foot, having the blocks under your hands gives you more room to move your leg. And once you're here, because we're going to stay here for this one, gives a little more room here between the torso and the leg if we have the blocks, and the blocks might even be on a higher position. And we'll do the same breathing, drawing the diaphragm in and up, navel towards the spine. Maybe go for 50 this time. Come to a natural rhythm of breathing. Slower, deeper, cooling breath. You might even exhale through your mouth and release some excess heat. Maybe you feel a little too warm. And there's no rush. You take our time. Going to bring this knee back and bring the other foot forward. And I should mention at this point, I'm noticing a little sniffle. I might have mentioned this earlier, actually. Maybe you already paused to take care of this. When it's chilly out, or even if it's not chilly out, sometimes doing breath of fire, if there's any congestion going on, maybe it's, it's cold season or just because it's cold out or you have allergies, it's a good idea to blow your nose real thoroughly before you start. When you're ready, left foot forward in your other low lunge, about 50 rounds with breath of fire, 50 short, sharp exhalations. And some nice, soft, natural, flowing breaths. Nice long breath. However you want to put that. Let the breath control go. Let the counting go. Going for about the same number on each side. Don't get too hung up about the counting. We all lose count sometimes. I'm saying that because I seem to be struggling this morning with counting myself. So now we'll change it up here and go for more engagement. I'm going to chuck those aside. We're going to come to a plank, however you want to get there. And maybe it's a short plank like this on your knees. So plank can be like that. That's more engaged than table or the low lunge. Or maybe you'd like to do a longer plank like that. Find your plank and do as many as you want. You could maybe challenge yourself. How many of these can I do in this position? And maybe come down onto a shorter plank, or maybe come down all the way. Come to a more passive position to pause and just take some long natural breaths. I'm just going to come here because that's what feels right now. Maybe you rest your head, turn to one side, rest on one cheek. Maybe rest on your chin like this. Now, as I came to plank and looked at my screen, I realized I was missing a demonstration opportunity there, being in profile to the camera. If I tuck the shirt in, you can see my abdomen move as I do the breath of fire. So that might be instructive now that I'm in a profile view in plank. So we'll do another round. So you can come to your plank. Maybe that's plank on the knees. So your hips are in line with your shoulders and your knees, whether your knees are on the ground or your legs are engaged, and you do the longer plank. And I'll go for 50 again here. Now let's come down on the belly. Some nice long, easy breaths again. Do what you want with your arms and your hands. Rest your head however you like. Now let's come up. Let's see about doing breath of fire standing. You can stand yourself up. If you want, you can have your hand at your belly. We couldn't do that, of course, in our lunges or planks or table. Maybe we should do that again, huh? Breath of fire standing. Fall into natural rhythm of breathing. Close your eyes if you want and focus inward. Just tuning into everything going on in your body, whatever you're feeling, observing yourself. So that's our breath of fire. I'll come down to a seat again, have another sip of water so I can talk a bit more. So breath work can be done in different postures. You might just sit and practice breath of fire, play around with how many repetitions feel right for you. You could do as many rounds as you like. So maybe it's 10 breaths to start and then take a break and try another one. Come at it without a goal, just exploring, see what feels right for you, see what feels like enough. Certainly pause when needed, back away from anything that seems like too much. After doing those rounds, I'm really feeling that I've worked my abdominal muscles, not in pain, not feeling uncomfortable, but feeling the effort. So in addition to it being a warming breath, it is using the muscles in the lower abdomen, particularly below the navel, the lower part of the belly there. So you might just play with it sitting. You might do the other postures that I did, like table or your lunges or plank or standing. And just explore this breath work and strengthen the core. It's not just about what you're doing with your breath and about heating up, but you're using those core muscles, the abdomen, the front of the core. And when we have a shorter practice, it's still nice to include Shavasana as a conclusion to the practice. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm cleaning up the camera view, keeping the bottle out of the way. So I'm just going to come onto my back, and you might opt for the standard corpse pose with your legs extended and your feet splayed apart, your hands resting out at your sides. Now, if this isn't comfortable, get comfortable. So sometimes lying flat doesn't feel good on the lower back. You could bring the soles of your feet to the mat, let your knees lean towards each other. This takes pressure off the low back. You might bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees splay out. You might put blocks here to support the weight of your legs. You might opt for an inversion, so you can combine your final resting pose of integration with inversion time by scooting over by the wall, or maybe your couch or a chair, and put your legs on the wall. This can feel really nice in the lower back, and you can vary this too. Maybe you have your feet on the wall like that, maybe this. Choosing whatever position is comfortable for you, allowing your breath to slow down, coming in its own rhythm, not directing it now, not consciously drawing your diaphragm in. Your diaphragm is a really neat thing. It's both involuntary muscle and voluntary muscle. So it works automatically on its own, and it responds to direction from your mind. One of the interesting and fun things about breath is its dual nature, that it's automatic and runs on its own and responsive to direction from the brain. As we did at the start, feel your contact with the ground changing as your breath gets deeper and slower. The expansion of the inhale, the contraction of the exhale, the rising and rooting. Start to give yourself some deeper breaths. Let your body move around bit by bit. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll your ankles and rest. Of course, your choice of initial movements might be dependent on the posture you're in. Let the movements gradually grow bigger, whatever movements your body seems to want. Whenever you're ready for bigger movements, you can take your time and gently sit yourself up. Shavasana is nice whether your practice is short or long. Shavasana allows us to integrate the benefits of the preceding practice, whatever it was, short, long, vigorous, gentle. Bring your hands to your heart. Thank you for sharing practice today. The light within me sees and honors that same light within you. Namaste. I'm Leo Gray on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center. Visit us at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook. Stop by the tip jar, check out our schedule. Questions and feedback are always welcome on whatever medium you're joining us, in person, on Zoom, on YouTube, on the Facebook. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.